Trouble number 8. The mirror that borrowed a face. On projection of the beloved. A young man saw across a market square in late summer a woman he did not know. He could not say what stopped him. There was nothing remarkable about her clothing. A plain green dress, a small straw hat, the ordinary cotton of a woman doing her ordinary errands. She was speaking to no one of importance. She was holding a basket of pears she had just brought from the corner stall. She was paying the seller, who was counting her change. She turned briefly to lift the basket, and the light caught her face in a particular way. A way the young man would, in later years, try to describe, but never succeed. And the young man knew, with absolute certainty, he had been waiting for her his whole life. He didn't speak to her that day. He was 23, and he had been raised carefully. He had been told that women of that quality were not to be approached in the markets. He stood behind a fruit stall and watched her finish her purchases. Watched her walk down the street with her basket. Watched her turn at the corner and disappear towards the lower town. She did not sleep that night. Sorry, he did not sleep that night. He came back to the market the next day. She wasn't there. He came back every day for 3 weeks. She came once more on Thursday with a different basket. He watched her again. He didn't speak. She did not see him. He learned after weeks of careful inquiry that she lived in a town 50 miles down the coast. He moved there. He took a job in a boarding house in her town. He arranged a job at a small office. He arranged his work so that he would walk each morning on the street where she walked her dog. He didn't speak to her. He walked behind her. He learned the streets that she preferred. He learned the cafes she stopped at on a Sunday morning. He learned the names of her 2 children by listening when they came running to meet her at the school gate. He learned in the second year that she was married. He had suspected this at first. The ring on her hand had been visible from the first day in the market. He had told himself in his first heat that the marriage didn't matter, that what he had recognised was older than marriage, that she would, when the moment came, understand. He followed her for 7 years. 3 towns he followed her. When her husband moved them to a 3rd town, he followed them. When the husband moved again to a 4th, he took a different job each time, but he never spoke to her. He sometimes stood very near her at the bakery, on the bus, at a public gathering, and he could smell her hair, and the smell would confirm every time the impossible certainty he had felt across the market square at 23. He grew thinner. He grew older. He was by 30 no longer a man, no longer a young man. He was a man who had spent his entire adult life following one woman through 4 towns without ever speaking to her. In the 7th year, in a quiet street in the 4th town, he stopped her. He had not planned to. He had been walking behind her as usual when she stopped to retie her shoe, and he had been too close, and she had looked up, but then she had seen him. "You do not know me," he said. He had practiced this sentence for 7 years. "But I have known you. I have known you since the market square in the summer of my 23rd year. I have been waiting to speak to you for 7 years, and I have come today to ask you to marry me. I know you have a husband. I know you have children. I know what I am asking. I'm asking anyway. The thing I recognized when I saw you was older than your marriage. It was older than your children. It was older than us. And I've been carrying it for 7 years. I cannot carry it alone any longer. I'm asking you." The woman looked at him. Her face was very precisely the face he had been carrying for 7 years. The mouth he had memorized, the line of the brow, the eyes. The eyes were exactly the eyes he'd been waiting for. She did not know him. She had never, she said, seen him. She had a husband whom she loved. She had 2 children who she loved. She had no recollection of any market square, any look across any market, any sense that she'd ever been seen by him. She said, sorry. She thought he was probably mentally ill. She said, walk on now. And she walked on, and she didn't look back. Wow. A young man who was no longer young, who was no longer anything in particular, stood very still in the street. He walked after some time past a shop window. He glanced into it. In the glass, he saw his own reflection. But it was wearing the face of the woman he had followed for 7 years. He stopped. He looked again. He moved his head. The reflection moved its head. The reflection had his hair, his collar, his thin shoulders, but the face was the woman's face. The mouth he had memorized, the line of the brow, the eyes. "There you are," said the reflection. He could not speak. "I have been waiting for you to look," said the reflection. "You have spent 7 years looking at her instead of me. She was not the right place to look. I am the right place. I am the part of you that you put outside yourself when you were a boy, because it was easier to love it across a market square than to live with it under your own rims. You followed me through 4 towns because I am yours. I was always yours. I am still yours. She was the carrier. She was the screen. She did not know that she was carrying me. She did not know she was a screen. She had her own life, a husband, 2 children, the basket of pears, and the dog. She was kind to me by carrying me for you without knowing she was doing it, and you owe her an apology. You owe her 7 years of solitude she did not ask for. And you owe me your evenings from now on in front of any glass that will hold you long enough for us to talk." Now, The young man, who was not young, sat down on the curb. He sat there until evening. He went eventually back to his small room. He did not, in the years that follow, marry. He did not, in fact, ever again follow anyone. He sat with the reflections in the evenings. The reflection had a great deal to say. She had been carrying his loving for 7 years on someone else's body. She had been impatient to come home. She came home, slowly, over many years. He learned in his middle age to love what was actually his, in his own ribs, without needing to put it on a screen. He did send the woman in his 40th year a letter of apology. He had learned where she lived. He had not in 10 years followed her. He sent her one letter. The letter was 3 sentences long. It said, "I'm sorry. I did not know what I was doing. The thing I followed was not you. You were carrying it for me, and I should not have asked you to." She did not reply. She kept the letter, however, in a small drawer in her kitchen for the rest of her life. She did not show it to her husband. She did not, in any decade, fully understand it, but she had somewhere in herself known she had been followed. She had felt the weight, the unaccountable looking, the smell of him on the bus. The letter set the weight down. She felt for the rest of her life lighter. And the moral: the face you have been searching for across the world is the one you have set down outside yourself in order not to carry it. The woman in the market was the carrier. She did not know she was carrying. The work, when you finally see, is to apologize to the carrier and bring that face back into your own ribs. The reflection is patient. She has been waiting 7 years. She will wait longer if she has to.